So hi everyone. I think this recording just to actually recap on the oGV summer checklist for all the elect, and for those who didn't have elect will be responsible by the current. So I think I will send the sheet to you all later on, but mainly I think you all can check on this entire sheet where it's already included on the pre-attraction checklist. For the attraction and all those considerations, I think I haven't included, but you can refer on the pre-attraction mainly because of there are some things already delayed. So if you want to refer on the detailed timeline, you can click on here, but mainly that will be the entire deadline that we already included. So I'll just go through one by one and what is the things that need to be due. And yeah, so I think first thing first is this will be entire sheet that we're going to use as like a working sheet for all the oGV. And it's different from the database because we still have the database, but this will be mainly ensuring on all the preparation process and all the coordination is already done in entire pre-attraction. So mainly, I think if you're already done, you can go through the LC, just click like a done, so that in the way it provides accountability system for each of the LC to fulfill all the pre-attraction checklists. And in case that you want to know like whether which one is the pre-attraction checklist you want to do, you can see this column, whether which one is the must do, which one is actually suggested, and which one is actually optional for you. And I will explain why I actually put this as a must do, suggested, or optional. So first thing first, you can go through this market tiering evaluation, whereby I already link the tab here. So yeah, after clicking to here, the main reason why we want to get this market evaluation tab is because of after you fill up all those MYV realized for the past performance, so they can get this past performance to actually evaluate whether which is your tiering of your market. And in case they want to engage more market, you can list it down here. But we just want to evaluate on the market performance in order for us to actually to categorize or to actually tier up your market so that we can understand whether your market is actually in tier 0 or tier 1 or tier 2, so they can actually understand how can we grow this market if you want to grow it. And it's also going to help us to actually prioritize which market should we focus on based on the tiering. So in case that you're not so sure what does the tier mean in the market, you can actually refer back to the past commission the past commission slide where I already explained on how the market tiering evaluation works. So second thing is you go to the next part, which is UR evaluation, which this is another UR stages that we want to evaluate because of it's different from the market is because after you go through this UR, mainly we actually have 11 stages, but we want to have a very clear growth path of what should be focused on each of the UR. That's why we actually need you all to fill up the like more on what is the UR that you all have in terms of what is the market, what is the persona, what is the UR name, all those things, so that you're able to transition these things to your successor and the elect, you're able to get these things. And mainly you're going to put down like your previous goal and actual to evaluate whether how is the UR, how is the context of UR, and then to put down the upcoming goal so that we very clearly know which kind of UR that you want to prioritize and what are the strategy to focus on in this UR and what's the suggested focus. And yeah, okay, wait. Okay, so I think mainly why we put must do for market tiering is because of we want to put this as a main strategy for us to focus on, so that we want to grow the market. But I think, is suggested, but we will still suggest you all to actually put on focus on this part because since UR is quite a big focus for summer. And after that, you can go to the channel evaluation, which mainly is evaluate on all the channel that we have, including on like you have local Telegram channel, you have your own UR channel, you have maybe a community group, you have any promotional group, all those local channels that you actually you already engage or you plan to engage, you're going to review all the effectiveness here because of mainly what we realize is in this term, there's a lot of channel is actually not effective. And that's why we actually need to have a review and to put down what is a keep start stop and to put down the focus so that we can clearly know what kind of channel and how many leads that we plan to get from this channel to evaluate the effectiveness and also to prioritize well which channel that we should focus on so that we can have a very clear strategy on which channel you want to focus on. And then after that, the next part is on the pre-attraction evaluation, whereby this part is to evaluate on the GTCM, which is the goal, target, channel, and message. After you put down all the channel and UI evaluation, we're going to evaluate on the past attraction, past campaign evaluation, and after that, you're going to evaluate what can be kickstart on the upcoming term. So with that, that will be the entire review part. Basically, this is all the review is also for you to facilitate what can you pass on to your successor. And I think because of some of the deadline is already over, so we suggest that you ought to rush on this entire process before you actually move on to next term. So the elect, you can actually take accountability of your own predecessor so they can get all the insights. Next part is more on the planning side, which I think planning this part I did mention on, which is the market tiering. You're based on the current market tiering to plan on what is the tier that you wish to grow in this term, and then which one you should prioritize based on each of the market. So in this case, right, you need to actually synergize with your OGT and also AY if you have this department to evaluate on the market tiering. After that, for goal setting, I think everyone know goal setting, right? So for goal setting, is actually evaluate on all the funnel where you have to set all the goal here. But this one I think is because of you have to set after your LTC. So that's why the goal setting, the deadline is actually not that early. So you can see the deadline is actually on 10th of March, but make sure you synergy with IGV, PM and FL as a back office to understand what is the goal setting you need to set. For operation timeline planning, you have to actually do it as soon as possible because of this will actually provide a clear picture of what you need to kickstart by start of January until the end. And it's actually need you all to actually align all the operation timeline with your university timeline, with your LEC timeline, and also NEC timeline. That's why we actually need you all to take note on all this timeline happening. So we also have this event happening, so you can take note on how can you align the best to national timeline, which is the MC timeline, so that we can actually downskill or to actually educate you based on the timeline set. In case that your timeline is actually much more earlier or is different, you can let me know in advance so that any resource that we might deliver late, if you have earlier timeline, we can see how can we support on your timeline. For example, maybe just example, we help you have earlier attraction timeline compared to national timeline because every LC have late attraction timeline. So you can let us know so that you can see how can we support earlier on an attraction timeline instead of like neglecting some of the LC. But we will need our LC to set up your timeline first. After that, next one is more on the supply and demand alignment, which this one I think you all should be already done in the past, where I think this one's that your predecessor should know. So this one is more on the synergy with your LR, which on your goal setting, what is the project and how you should align the supply and demand. And the main reason why we put a lot of focus on this is also because of a lot of time we actually misalign on the supply and demand side. And we have to put focus on how can we match the persona, and this have to align with IGB to match the deadline on 15th of February, so they can actually submit the opening audit. Other than that, will be on the market research goal setting. You have to set on the goal setting on market research, which I already allocate the link, and then you will be optional for you to do any quantitative or in-depth research that you wish to do. And I think just to emphasize on, for those LC who actually wish to run GV, you need to actually do this market research so that you're able to support on your context of the demand on your supply side. And after that, you based on the entire research map on the new persona, and then you based on this to actually map out the entire campaign and the timeline execution. So basically, that would be the entire checklist that you need to do, and make sure you actually align back and synergy with your synergy partner, and to fulfill this before deadline. Yeah. So basically, that's all. Okay. Yeah.